they are worried about being attacked. Now, these are cargo ships. The Susan Constant carries about 120 tons of cargo. There are pirates in these waters at that time. There's also the Spanish Empire. As far as they're concerned, this right here is northern Florida, and it belongs to them. Now, to defend themselves, these ships are going to carry cannons. Even though they are merchant ships, they do need to defend themselves and their cargo, which in 1607 included 105 pieces of human cargo, the colonists. Now, to do that, they're going to use something like this, which we've all seen before. What is it?
Cannonball.
Cannonball. Exactly right. They don't call this a cannonball in 1607. In 1607, a cannonball is specifically something like this that weighs 64 pounds. This weighs 3 pounds. So this is way too small to be a cannonball. They're going to call this round shot because it's round and you shot it out of a cannon. Like I said before, this is a 3-pound hunk of metal. It comes traveling out of the barrel of a gun at about 800 or 900 miles an hour. When it hits a ship, it might do some damage to it, especially if it's a smaller ship like the Discovery or the Godspeed. Might even sink it if you're lucky. But sinking a ship isn't always the best idea. If you're a pirate, for instance, you're going to want to get the stuff that's on board. It also takes a long time for a ship to sink. So if you're trying to escape from a combat situation, it's a lot easier just to disable the enemy ship and then run away from it. Start passing that around, sir. Passing the round shot around, be very careful with it. It is heavy and it will hurt if you drop it on yourself or on a friend. Now, what they're going to use to slow down these ships or to stop these ships is something called bar shot, because it has the bar in the middle of it. Sailors aren't very creative when it comes to naming things. Now, bar shot comes coming out of the cannon, spins end over end through the air, again 800 or 900 miles an hour, gonna hit the sails of a ship, rip holes in the sails, tangle up the lines. If you're extraordinarily lucky, it's gonna hit the yard, the piece of wood that holds the sail up, and break that off. Again, if you're very lucky. What's gonna do that a little bit better though, here goes youngster, start passing that around. What's gonna do a better job of that is this right here. Now if round shot is round, and bar shot has a bar in the middle of it, what do you think they call this? Chain shot, exactly right. This spins through the air like a big metal pair of nunchucks, wraps around the yard of a ship, and snaps it off. If you're a person, this is also going to be not very much fun to be hit with. In 1590, Sir Christopher Newport, who was the captain of the Susan Constant in 1607, as well as the admiral of the fleet, gets hit with a piece of Spanish artillery. We think something like this. It takes his arm off. I would say clean off, but that wouldn't really be accurate. Now, this is going to be good for injuring or hurting, or maybe killing one person. But sometimes you just gotta kill a lot of people, especially if they're on another ship and they're trying to kill you. So what you're gonna use for that is you're gonna use this kind of gun right here, which we call a swivel gun or a rail gun, and we use this for ammunition. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Nick, this is just a log. And you're right, it is. At least it is until you cut it in half, hollow it out, and fill it full of all kinds of nasty metal bits. Musket balls, nails, bits of chain, whatever you can find that's going to hurt, maim, or kill the people on the other ship. Basically it works like a big shotgun shell. The gunpowder in the chamber goes off, it burns off the rope that holds it together, flies up the muzzle of the gun, air resistance forces it apart, and bits of metal go flying everywhere. Effective range, about 150, maybe 200 yards on the outside. Oh, like a frag grenade trap, basically, what we have here. So I'm going to pass this around from the other end. Oh, thank you. Did the round shot get around to you guys?
It did, we've already collected.
Oh, okay, excellent. All right. In fact, this particular piece of hardware is so effective at what it does that when John Smith asked for 3 dozen of these kinds of weapons to defend the fort with later on, he does not ask for swivel guns. He does not ask for rail guns, which is what we typically call them. he asked that would you please send us 3 dozen murdering pieces. And that is what we are going to be firing today. My assistant Jay here will be going through the motions with this, and I will be explaining what he is doing. Now, the first command I'm going to give him as the gunnery captain is I'm going to ask him to order the piece to load, which means he's going to ensure that no small animals have crawled up the muzzle of the gun, no bird's nests are in there. Nothing is going to be blocking the shot once it comes out, because if something blocks the shot, instead of killing your enemies, this gun is going to kill you. All right, and he's going to say aye, which means there's nothing there. Next thing I'm going to tell him to do is handle the charge. At which point, he will pick up this, he will pick up one of these mugs. All right, he'll pick up the mug, which is what contains the gunpowder. It weighs about 35 pounds. I will then tell him to advance the charge, which means bring it to the gun. I will then say charge the piece, at which point he will slide the mug into place and put the pin in behind it, and then give it a few good whacks with that mallet there to make sure it stays in place. Alright. I will then give the order to pick and prime. He's going to puncture the case of gunpowder that we have in there, and then he's going to charge it with basically a musket charge. He's going to add a little bit of extra gunpowder to the top until there's a little anthill sized pile on the top of the vent, so that there is a fuse going from inside to outside. All right, I will now order him to gauge the piece, which means to aim it. We aim it a little bit away from that tree so that we don't hurt the poor tree. All right. Finally.
No, we're doing it.
Okay. All right.
Make sure you're warming them down.
Yes.
So that noise.
All right. Now we do have actual gunpowder in there. No actual weapon and nothing to actually shoot out, but it does make a loud boom. So I have not at all period earplugs. You all do not. So please, I'm going to have to give the command, have a care, which is 17th century speak for look out, y'all.
Put your hands, put your fingers in.
When I say have a care, please turn off any hearing assistance devices you may have. You will not need them for the remainder of this demonstration. If you do not have a hearing assistance device and do not wish to use one in the near future, I would recommend you cover your ears like so. If you are taking a picture of it, and you cannot cover your ears, open your mouth instead to relieve pressure. It makes you look really silly, but it will protect your eardrums. All right, after I say have a care and you all have covered your ears, I will then say give fire, at which point we will touch off the linstock, which has a bit of burning slow match on it, onto the gunpowder and make it make a big boom. Are you gauging or am I?
All set.
All right. All right. All right, y'all. Have a care! Give fire! All right. At which point I will order my assistant of the.
I just got all the smoke.
Well, first I will extinguish this fire because it is in the middle of the linstock and I can't quite get to it. You got it. All right. I will then order my crew to secure the piece. At which point I will begin answering questions you may have. All right, secure the piece. What questions y'all have for me?